this by saying I did not crop this photo one bit. I crop almost every photo that you see on Weekly 50. I always edit my photos. I adjust the highlights, the shadows. Sometimes I do a little bit of tweaking with the color, and I almost always crop my photos because I never quite get exactly the framing that I'm looking for. And that's why you have a 24 megapixel camera, so that you have leeway to crop. I'm not a believer in the idea that when you shoot digitally, you shouldn't crop. You should frame your shot and use it as is. That's why you shoot digitally, so you can crop. Because you have so many megapixels to work with, you might as well crop your photo if you don't get it framed perfectly right. There's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, this photo I didn't crop at all, and I don't know why I'm so fixated on that, but I kind of think that's neat because I almost always crop my photos. This photo was not planned. I didn't set out to take this photo. I didn't even think I could take this photo. This is a really small flower, probably less than an inch in diameter, maybe an inch, I don't know. And it's outside the garden by the student union, not the main formal garden, but kind of the side garden by the Ranchers Club. And this little flower was pointing at the ground, almost like it had worked hard and it was the end of a long day. And that made it really tricky to photograph. And I didn't even think I could get a photograph of it because there's no way that it would work out. I had a lot of things stacked against me. It was a tiny flower. It was pointing downward. It was windy. I had my D750, and that has the autofocus on that is not great in live view. So I didn't think I could get a photo of this. I thought the wind would be moving around too much. It was tricky to see with the live view and the daylight, like the sun, which reflect out the screen. Even the filter itself, I was using a +10 close-up filter, and so the whole image is just super muddy until you get it in focus, but it's difficult to focus with a close-up filter unless you really see what you're doing. I mean, there's just all sorts of things stacked against you, or me in this case, to get a photo like this. But it worked, and it worked so well that I didn't even need to crop the image, and I don't quite know how that happened. I really like how this is just kind of a monochromatic. It's like there's two colors, maybe 2.5. There's blue, and then there's kind of dull purple. I guess you could say there's gray in the background, but that color scheme really makes the subject, this flower, this purple flower, just stand out like fireworks. And I had to shoot with the small aperture on this. I think I started with f4 and then stopped down a little bit from there because I knew the depth of field would be so shallow. Just like a couple weeks ago, I shared a photo of a Indian paintbrush flower. Depth of field with close-up filters is really tricky, especially with a +10 close-up filter. It's really tricky. And I'm still not sure how this actually worked out. I almost don't even know what to say. I'm so pleased with how this picture turned out. And I've never really taken one quite like it that looks just, with the colors, with the framing, with the close-up, something always just doesn't quite work. But here all the elements kind of came together, and I'm really happy with the results.